The silence woke her, not the comforting quiet of pre-dawn, but a heavy, suffocating absence. Sarah padded to the window of her isolated farmhouse, the worn floorboards cool beneath her bare feet. Her breath fogged the glass as she peered out. No chirping crickets, no rustle of nocturnal hunters in the long grass, not even the distant hoot of Old Man Henderson's barn owl, just dead air. Dread, cold and slick, coiled in her stomach. She pulled on jeans and a thick sweater, the silence pressing in like physical weight. Stepping onto the porch, the smell hit her first, not the usual earthy scent of dew and hay, but a thick coppery tang of blood, undercut with something foul, like ozone and burnt hair. Her gaze swept the yard. Beneath the old oak tree, a dark mound. Flies hadn't even found it yet. She approached, heart hammering against her ribs. It was Bessie, her old border collie, not just dead, ruined. Her body lay twisted, neck bent at an impossible angle, eyes wide and clouded, bulging as if frozen mid-scream. Her mouth was stretched open in a silent, agonized rictus. No visible wounds, just the terrifying posture of violent, sudden death. Sarah stumbled back, bile rising in her throat. Bessie had been curled on her mat by the door last night. Panic flared. She ran towards the chicken coop, the silence amplifying her frantic footsteps. The wire mesh door hung open. Inside, carnage. Not the work of a fox or weasel. A dozen hens lay scattered like broken toys. Some were crumpled in corners, necks snapped. Others looked like they'd been flung against the walls, leaving dark smears on the wood. Feathers drifted in the still air. No predator did this. No predator left bodies untouched but shattered. She gagged, covering her mouth, then movement. A lone rooster, King Henry, staggered from behind a nesting box. He took 2 jerky steps, his magnificent plumage dull and askew. He stopped, tilted his head upwards towards the roof of the coop, not towards Sarah. A low, guttural click rattled in his throat, unlike any sound she'd ever heard from a bird. Then his body jerked violently, a convulsion that snapped his spine with an audible crack. He dropped, instantly still, joining the silent massacre. Sarah screamed, the sound shockingly loud in the void. She fled the coop, stumbling towards her truck. Get to town, get help, get away. The engine roared to life, a jarring intrusion. As she sped down the long dirt driveway, headlights cutting swaths through the oppressive gloom, she saw them. Shapes in the ditches, a raccoon, rigid teeth bared in a final snarl, a family of possums piled together as if frozen mid-scuttle, a deer, its graceful neck broken, legs splayed unnaturally. Death painted the roadside in grotesque tableaus of sudden, inexplicable cessation. She slammed the brakes as she neared the Henderson place. Old Man Henderson's porch light was on, but his rocking chair was overturned. His prize-winning tabby cat, Marmalade, lay stiff on the welcome mat, eyes wide and vacant, and Henderson himself. He was half out the front door, collapsed face down. One hand was stretched towards the horizon, fingers curled like claws. Sarah didn't need to check the unnatural stillness, the awful, familiar angle of his neck. He was gone, just like Bessie, just like the chickens, just like everything else. A sob ripped from her throat. It wasn't just animals. Her headlights swept over Henderson's living room window. Inside, the old cathode ray TV was on, blaring static. Not the gentle hiss of a dead channel, but a frenzied, pulsing wall of gray and white noise that flickered like a strobe light. It cast jagged, stuttering shadows across the room, and in the center of that chaotic light, hunched over Henderson's easy chair, was a shape, vague, shifting, composed of the deepest, most wrong shadows the static couldn't penetrate. It had no discernible features, just an impression of impossible angles and a chilling, focused malevolence. It seemed to be listening to the static, or maybe feeding on it. As Sarah stared, frozen in terror, the static surged. It wasn't just sound anymore. It was a physical pressure, a high-pitched whine drilling into her skull. The shadow figure in the window seemed to solidify for a split second. It didn't turn its head, but Sarah felt its attention lock onto her truck, onto her, with the weight of a glacier. The air crackled, her fillings hummed, every hair on her body stood rigid. The truck's engine sputtered, died. The headlights swinked out, plunging her into near-total darkness, illuminated only by the hellish strobing static glow from Henderson's window. In that flickering madness, she saw the shadow thing unfold. It wasn't getting up. It was stretching, tendrils of pure darkness reaching outwards, not towards the window, but seemingly through it, bleeding into the fabric of the night itself. The static wasn't just noise. It was a signal, and it was calling something, something that killed with a thought, a snap of unseen force. Something that was now aware of Sarah, trapped in her dead truck, the last flicker of life in a landscape of sudden, silent death. The static screamed in her ears. The cold wasn't just the night air anymore. It was the chill of the void reaching for her. She fumbled for the door handle, knowing it was futile, knowing the shadow was already here, in the silence between the static bursts. The last sound wasn't her scream, but the terrifying electric snap of her own neck breaking in the suffocating dark.